2018 Jaguar I-Pace SUV Review. The good points of Jaguar I-Pace SUV. Claimed choice of up to 298 miles. Claimed rapid charge times. Impressive refinement and gratification. Battery beneath floor liberates extra cabin space. Agile handling, comfortable ride. The bad points of Jaguar I-Pace SUV. Prices start at £63,495, so not cheap. At 2.2 tons, it is a heavy car. Jaguar's reliability record unfortunately isn't the very best. Welcome into a brave rainforest for a famous British brand, the electric Jaguar I-Pace SUV. That it exists, and accessible to order for customer deliveries later in 2018, isn't in itself a surprise, as Jaguar has previewed the Austrian-built battery electric vehicle BEV with concept cars of the name since 2016. Make no mistake though, the I-Pace can be a game changer for Jaguar, as well as the car market generally. As such, it currently does not have any direct rivals, because Tesla Model X is quite a bit larger. What's the technical specification? The I-Pace is 94% aluminum, and uses suspension familiar from Jaguar's XF and F-Pace models. But it's the electric drivetrain that creates this a Jaguar unlike every other. A 90 kWh lithium-ion battery sits between front and rear wheels. Twin electric motors provide power, with one at every axle to produce permanent all-wheel drive. A single-speed transmission means you should not change gear. Jaguar claims 400 horsepower with 695 Nm of torque, figures comparable to your high-performance saloon. The battery is roofed by an 8-year warranty, and I-Pace needs a service every 2 octoseconds or 21,000 miles. What's the 2018 Jaguar I-Pace love to drive? Press the D button for the center console as well as the I-Pace glides from the parking space into urban traffic, apparently silently within your cabin, though with a low hum to warn pedestrians. Frontal visibility is a great one, even though you can't understand the corners in the snub bonnet, rear visibility less so. The reversing camera is important, even though the mirrors supply you with all the information you need in normal driving. Electric cars provide instant acceleration, and also the I-Pace certainly feels very eager and attentive to throttle inputs. Nonetheless, it's never excessively edgy during gentle maneuvers. More intriguing is on the pedal driving. Simply releasing the throttle produces a relatively strong braking effort because the electric motors harvest electricity to replenish battery. You can reduce the strength of this via sub-menus from the touchscreen and rely more about the brake pedal, but as it takes a short space of time to adjust to on-pedal driving, it soon feels natural. Riding on our test car's air suspension with 20-inch alloys, conventional coil springs are standard, while wheel sizes cover anything from 18 to 22 inches, the I-Pace feels impeccably cushioned and controlled, even above the roughest surfaces. The steering weight is pretty heavy, nevertheless it's pleasingly precise, responsive and accurate, and a lot from overbearingly meaty. Accelerate as much as motorway speed as well as the I-Pace surges forward with your relentless vigor. It makes most petrol or diesel cars feel decidedly sluggish, which enable it to embarrass even high-performance cars, even though the 0.62 miles per hour of 4.8 seconds is very fast. The mid-range acceleration feels far stronger than that figure leads one to expect. The smooth ride carries on define the driving experience at higher speeds, as well as wind and road noise that's impressively suppressed, right around high motorway cruising speeds. The quietness connected with an electric car does emphasize any shortcomings with this department, However, the I-Pace's cabin is hushed and relaxed. There is noise, however, some sort of arcade game jet engine soundtrack that captures their alien driving experience plus the increasing ascent drama as speeds rise. Again, this really is dialed up or down through touchscreen. Perhaps most surprising is when enjoyable this type of heavy electric SUV is always to drive down an overwhelming mountain road. Its balance of strong grip, instant performance and good body control conspire to create the I-Pace feel surprisingly agile when driven enthusiastically. A contributory factor we have found that the weighty battery and electric motors are concentrated so low down within the chassis, and also the lower the burden, better the handling from a car. Jaguar even laid upon an off-road route in the Portuguese press launch, which involved wading through water nearly the I-Pace's axles, cruising at speed over unmade roads, and raising the environment suspension to navigate steep and dusty terrain, that the I-Pace simply shrugged off. How long should it take to charge the Jaguar I-Pace? Using a 50 kW DC charge point, the kind of typically located at motorway services and public car parks, requires 85 minutes to accept the I-Pace's 90 kWh power supply from flat to 80% capacity. Currently the UK is within the early stages of seeing 100 kW DC rapid chargers being rolled out. Using one of them at 0.80% charge will require just 40 minutes. Most electric drivers recharge their vehicles overnight employing a dedicated wall box. For just a 0.80% recharge by using a 7 kW AC supply requires 10 hours, that ought to suit most owners. Jaguar doesn't yet quote a time for charging the I-Pace utilizing a conventional 3-pin domestic plug. While this isn't an ideal way of replenishing its battery, it's a handy fallback facility if appropriate connections are unavailable. Smart charging can replenish the car battery during low-tariff electricity hours, while preconditioning allows proprietors to cool or heat the car although it's still on charge, saving battery. Jaguar claims 298 miles of range. During a test route that took in urban driving, motorway as well as a long stint on some very challenging and twisty roads driven with a decent dose of enthusiasm, we reduced 248 miles of predicted range to 93 miles in, coincidentally, 93 miles of driving, though we'd be prepared to achieve a better determined normal commuting. Buyers get 2 teams of charging cables, a 3-pin charger, and something for rapid charging, though neither were from the test cars. How big would be the Jaguar I-Pace? Even although it's an SUV, the I-Pace features a lower, sportier look versus the Epis and Pace crossovers and sits between your 2 Pace models size-wise. At 4,682 mm it's 50 mm shorter than an Pace, if 271 mm over an Epis. The lack of a standard engine and gearbox has allowed Jaguar designers to build an extremely futuristic shape that has a very short nose as well as the cabin pushed forward being a mid-engined supercar. Combined having a distance involving the front and rear wheels that's some 130 mm greater compared to the Pace, the I-Pace has an exceptionally spacious cabin, despite its relatively compact proportions. This is why a 6 feet tall passenger sitting behind much the same sized adult will see a couple of inches of knee and headroom. The spacious rear accommodation is additionally helped through the almost entirely flat floor, where usually a bulky transmission tunnel would compromise space. Jaguar quotes a 656-liter boot capacity using the rear seats up, 1,435 liters when they're folded. There's additionally a 10.5-liter storage cubby between front seats, and also a tiny front boot. There is often a more conventional center console between your front seats, however it houses the ventilation system and yes it's incorporated in a real way which it makes it easy to get into the touchscreen infotainment system as well as controls arranged neatly upon it. Jaguar I-Pace, bristling with connected technology. There's little inside I-Pace's cabin that screams Jaguar, save for any smattering of wood and leather, that will no doubt please brand traditionalists. That's not to imply it doesn't seem like an attractive dashboard, using a trio of screens where one might ordinarily expect to see traditional analog dials and physical buttons. Those screens made their debut from the Range Rover Velar and became easy to use, but at risk from greasy fingerprints, disturbing the slick aesthetics. Conspicuous by its absence could be the rising rotary gear selector. Even the push buttons for selecting the direction of travel reflect how simple to operate an electric-powered car is. Delve under the superficial appeal in the touchscreens for further advanced technology like sat-nav settings optimized to electric car-friendly routes including recharging points, and usage of Jaguar's remote app via Amazon's Alexa as well as the more usual smartphone access. Jaguar's employed much the same trim-level hierarchy to Europa's due to its electric SUV, with S, SE and HSE grades topped by way of a special first edition only available for the short time from launch. Equipment levels will probably be generous and, like the Velar, Oberland textile upholstery from Danish supplier Kvadrat is obtainable as an alternative to Windsor leather. Take-up has proved low within the Velar, but possibly the eco demographic will understand the appeal. Orders for the Jaguar I-Pace may be put now with prices starting at £63,495 to have an entry-level SEV 400 AWD version before government incentives. The verdict. The early signs are perfect for Jaguar's entry into the electric car market. We'll need to get our hands for the I-Pace from the UK to create the final call regarding comfort, though. It can be an expensive proposition, but at time of writing is a class of a single. Check back around soon for that full Jaguar I-Pace SUV review. Good SP watch of petrol, diesel and hybrid power. Manual and automatic gearboxes from which to choose. Hybrid launched in 2016, quiet, quick and efficient. At launch there was only 2 engines available, and like a family car, BMW 2 Series Active Tourer performance hasn't been a priority. The range has subsequently expanded significantly, though. All use a new modular construction, either 1.5-liter 3-cylinder examples or larger 2.0-liter units with 4 cylinders, and fitted transversely sideways instead of lengthways under the auto's bonnet. In 2016 a plug-in hybrid was introduced. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer petrol engines. The 218i, that is actually a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine, produces 136 horsepower which enable it to sprint from 0-62 miles per hour within 9.2 seconds. It's an immensely refined unit, without the giveaway that by most conventions it truly is missing a cylinder, and responds perfectly perkily from low down inside the REV range community. Does its best higher up the REV range. Equally hushed at speed, 2 Series Active Tourer owners will probably be more focused on refinement than straight-line performance. Those that crave more needed to wait until November 2014, once the 218i was supplemented with the 220i and 225i, even though the latter was discontinued within the UK during 2017. Both have each .0-liter, 4-cylinder engine, the 225i with 230 horsepower and xDrive 4-wheel drive. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer diesel engines. If economy and efficiency, having a lower list price compared to the hybrid, will be the priorities, then it's the 218d that could likely catch your eye. This 2.0-liter 4-cylinder diesel seems to emit only 109 GkM but tend to sprint from 0-62 miles per hour in 8.9 seconds, on account of its 150 horsepower and 330 Nm of torque. The three-cylinder petrol has it licked for refinement, although diesel does feel more willing for the move. Like the petrol engines, the diesel lineup was expanded in November 2014 through the 216D three-cylinder 1.5-liter and 220D having a higher output version on the 218D's engine. Should you wish, the 220D can be available with xDrive, where it's fitted together with the 8-speed automatic gearbox as standard. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer plug-in hybrid engines. Don't be fooled through the 225's badging. The plug-in hybrid PHEV version from the 2 Series Active Tourer uses technology on the i8 sports cars, using the three-cylinder 1.5-liter petrol engine powering top axle twinned with a motor driving the spine wheels. In the key it's smooth and to drive, with near-instant response because of its electrical assistance. Subscribe for just a full evaluation of how the BMW 225's Active Tourer. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer gearboxes. There are 4 gearboxes to select from depending upon the age in the 2 Series Active Tourer, the especially smooth and efficient 8-speed automatic, and then for 3-cylinder engines a 6-speed version. Those who would rather swap cogs themselves will quickly realize BMW's 6-speed manual gearbox instead, which is simple to use using a short throw and relaxed shift action. A 7-speed dual-clutch automatic was added during 2018's facelift. Probably the top people carrier drive-in automobile. Feels being a proper BMW generally in most ways. Based on platform given to Mini, X1. Once regarded or perhaps marketed because the ultimate driving machine, the creation of a front-wheel drive BMW, and specifically a compressed people carrier, shocked the marque's purists. However, if you're a fan on the firm's products along with their driving appeal, then have no fear, as you move the 2 Series Active Tourer won't trouble an M3 around a racetrack. It truly is sharper than most of its family-orientated competitors. In fact, still it feels just like a BMW they are driving, in spite of the change in engine and transmission layout, and then for most drivers you'd be hard-pushed to notice the back wheels aren't being driven. Plus 4-wheel drive xDrive models were delivered 225i and 220d soon after the initial launch. The optional electronic damper control adaptive suspension, that allows drivers to tailor the automobile's responses thus to their requirements, and road conditions can be a worthwhile extra. Variable sports steering can be optional, and from experience with other BMW products on this fitted whenever they a noticeable difference for keen drivers, even though that's probably not who this vehicle is geared towards. Regardless, body control is excellent, plus the 2 Series Active Tourer corners flatly and without fuss, even at speed. It's easily of the same quality to drive because Ford Ka-Max or Golf SV. That's despite the Auto's 1,563 mm high, plus par down towards the wide 1,561 mm front and 1,562 mm rear distance between right and left wheels. There is however firmness towards the chassis that never quite goes away completely, meaning the Citroën C4 Space Tourer carries a more comfortable ride. As expected, the 2 Series Active Tourer comes detailed with BMW's electronic stability control system, but like its badged SUV models X1, X2 and X3, one example is be able to fully disengage the device, but not the majority of these compact people carriers will venture onto a track. Overall, the experience is really a good one. We like the weighting on the steering, and it also is easier than you think to park, too, with good visibility around the auto thanks to a lot of glass. Acoustic sensors or automatic parking can be found as you climb the trim structure. Smart, well thought out cabin design. Gets the most up-to-date BMW technology. iDrive multimedia among the top available. BMW expects around 75% of 2 Series active Tourer buyers to return from conquest sales, but for that other quarter coming through the firm's other models, the cabin layout will probably be relatively familiar. The layering design from the dashboard is a thing we've seen over the rest from the BMW range, as will be the tablet-like freestanding multimedia display screen inside center, even though the instruments have become much like those found elsewhere. That said, some in the switchgear has gotten an update, one of the most noticeable being the climate controls, which look vaguely reminiscent associated with an Audi system, and also the automatic gear lever can be a different design to the people we have seen recently through the firm. You'll probably require some time to familiarize yourself together with the iDrive interface, unless you're already a BMW owner, during which instance you'll wonder how we ever managed without this type of intuitive control system. Add to that excellent material quality, fit and handle, plus neat switchgear, and also the 2 Series active Tourer's cabin is one on the highlights. From July 2017, BMW installed its latest professional 8.8-inch iDrive infotainment package within the active Tourer, including a built-in SIM card in addition to a Wi-Fi hotspot, Microsoft 365 connectivity, enhanced voice control capability using real speech, real-time traffic information with time until you have notifications, and optional Apple CarPlay connectivity. A clear head-up display features too, and now we noticed so it's one with the few systems available that works perfectly with polarized sunglasses, though during some types of driving like dusk or perhaps in heavy rain it might become somewhat distracting. You can switch it well, though. Very solidly built, but ride is often a little firm. Hybrid may be the quietest inside range. Optional adaptive suspension helps. Built to handle families, it has to be no surprise that comfort was near the top on the BMW 2 Series active Tourer's priority list during development. Certainly, the seats are usually BMW if there be warmth of adjustment, there's plenty, no excuse for not discovering the right driving position. That said, you need to sit 30 mm higher than inside the maker's X1 SUV, and it also feels high through the driving seat. Along using the seat adjustment in advance, there's an abundance of reach and rake movement inside the steering wheel too. On the move, especially within the 3-cylinder petrol model, the 2 main series active Tourer impresses. On this engine probably the most noticeable noise is from your wind, rather compared to pistons, unless you're really accelerating hard. The diesel isn't quite as refined, nevertheless once you've reached your desired cruising speed it quickly settles with a hushed note, with a little vibration throughout the controls. An underlying firmness towards the suspension, that allows the BMW to corner a lot better than a Citroën C4 Space Tourer. One example entails you can feel most on the ruts and bumps below you, and that's without selecting Sport mode from the adjustable suspension. But even though the ride isn't pillow soft, it's rarely wearing, and customarily very well composed. If comfort will be your primary consideration, you'll discover that a 225's plug-in hybrid should what you need nicely. This is because it runs in near silence when on electricity, and that has a theoretical variety of 28 miles. It's possible many drivers might use this model without making use of any fuel whatsoever as a city commuter car. 4 trims, fairly well specified. Many options about the table. Exact spec for 2018 models DBC. There are 4 trim choices for that BMW 2 Series active Tourer inside UK. The entry-level say is supplemented by Sport, Luxury and M Sport models. Standard BMW 2 Series active Tourer equipment. Regardless that trim you decide on, All BMW 2 Series Active Tourers come well equipped, because you'd wish for their price. On same models, practicality is taken care of using the automatic tailgate, which hides the 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds split rear seat and 60 hours 40 minutes sliding base with electronic folding, and that means you don't must clamber around inside rear watchy to facilitate large loads. Life's made equally as easy to the drive due to Bluetooth connectivity and also a USB interface for your BMW professional radio with single CD player. This allows for audio streaming and provides DAB radio. Everything is displayed around the central freestanding, as will be the current fashion 6.5-inch monitor. Keeping occupants cool may be the dual-zone climate control system, while rain and light-await sensors activate the headlights and wipers automatically, and rear parking sensors mean there's no excuse for backing into anything unexpected. Drive performance control with EcoPro helps save fuel, on account of efficiency tips, along with the car could be started about the button without a key. If buyers fancy something just a little sportier, then it's the £1,250 more costly sport model that could catch their eye, adding 17-inch alloy wheels in lieu of 16-inch items, sports front seats, LED ambient lighting and tweaks towards the interior trim and exterior styling. Next within the lineup will be the luxury model, £2,000 more compared to standard say, which with its 17-inch alloy wheels of your different design, leather seats, LED ambient lighting, chrome exterior details and wood trim within the interior. November 2014 saw the rollout of M Sport models, costing an extra £3,000 within the say specification cars, and changed the look from the car due to an aerodynamics package, specific M Sport suspension, 18-inch M Sport alloy wheels and sports tire and seat combination. Optional BMW 2 Series Active Tourer Extras. There are many options packages available about the BMW 2 Series Active Tourer, each offering a fortune of extra kit at a discount cost versus the individual items added together. The technology package adds a reversing camera, comfort access, which allows one to open the boot with just a swing of one's foot below the trunk bumper, and adaptive LED headlights. Choose the Navigation Plus package and you're treated to some new 8.8-inch full-color display, connected drive services with live traffic information along with a head-up display. There's also the typical navigation package with smaller screen and regular traffic information along with a driver comfort package with adaptive cruise control and park assist. After which the list is extensive, and includes the panoramic glass sunroof, which floods the cabin with light, which makes it feel even larger, plus the upgraded Harman Kardon speakers, active cruise control and other trim and color choices. Post-facelift 2018 BMW 2 Series Active Tourer equipment. The update in 2018 introduced a number of additional features, but at time of writing exact pricing and specifications have yet to be released. However, expect the subsequent 2 extra body colors, 6 new designs of alloy wheel, new seat covers, optional LED headlights and tail lamps, latest generation professional multimedia and iDrive control system, driver assistance systems detailed below in safety. The 2 Series Active Tourer scored 5 stars at Euro NCAP's crash testing program. It's got an abundance of safety kit fully briefed as standard, including 2 rear ISOFIX mounting points and 1 inside the front passenger seat. And if the worst should happen, plus you've got an accident, BMW Emergency Call will automatically contact you and also inform the neighborhood emergency services if any in the car's airbags are deployed. A raft of connected drive options further increase the 2 main Series Active Tourer's safety, with adaptive LED headlights, a head-up display with an active cruise control which will brake gets hot or detects that you are closing for the car before are typically available. On top of that, active guard and driving assistance stops you wandering between lanes and also detecting objects and pedestrians within your way, warning you in their presence, of course, if required, braking you with a halt. Watch BMW 2 Series Active Tourer Euro NCAP crash test. Spacious cabin and larger boot. Hybrid model suffers slightly. Should prove all too easy to park. Space is essential here, so BMW 2 Series Active Tourer practicality is one in the highlights with the entire package. In comparison, while using 1 Series Sports hatch, the compact people carrier is 16 mm longer and 25 mm wider. Despite a fractionally shorter wheelbase, the Active Tourer boasts more interior space, with rear legroom comparable into a 7 Series. Certainly, it's no problem for any full-sized adult to take a seat behind another in complete comfort. That rear bench slide forward or backwards too, varying the amalgamation between boot and passenger space as required, though there's no full removal option. The Active Tourer shouldn't be hugely challenging to park. Its footprint will be the size of any medium hatchback, but thanks for the tall body the motive force has great visibility because windows are extremely big. Depending on specification, you may have rear acoustic sensors, a camera, or even an automatic parking system to help you this 2 Series slot into the garage. With the corner seats electrically folded flat, the stress space is just like that from the firm's 3 Series Touring. The 2 Series Active Tourer sports an especially wide rear tailgate opening too, just to produce loading larger items easier. Including the underfloor closet, there's as much as 468 liters of space available, with 1,510 on offer using the rear seats folded. It's worth noting here that 225's plug-in hybrid buyers will forfeit a bit of room thanks on the batteries located within the boot floor, so capacity drops to 400 and 1,350 liters respectively. If you've got longer what you should carry, then an optional folding front passenger seat is often a worthwhile option, while as standard a corner bench splits in a very 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds configuration.